Good evening, everyone. This is Jessica Barragan Carmona. I am going to do my leadership presentation on Dr. Nancy Huante. So far, I've really enjoyed reading and hearing all about your leaders. Getting to learn about different leadership styles is very helpful as we begin to thoughtfully explore what type of leadership we ourselves want to practice as we exit this cohort. And I particularly decided to talk about Dr. Nancy Huante because of our shared space back in 2016, 17, when we were both board members of Chicana Colectiva. Dr. Huante has been a really big champion for me to finish school and my number one supporter. And Dr. Nancy Huante is an amazing local Stockton community leader who happens to be an amazing professor, co-founder of a grassroots nonprofit named Nopal, and a very proud immigrant. When we think of Stockton, we tend to think of male leaders like Michael Tubbs, astronaut Jose Hernandez, and so on. But today I want to introduce an amazing community leader whose leadership has influence from feminist theories, her values around equality for all, and being a very supportive educator really make her who she is. Dr. Nancy Huante was born in Michoacan, Mexico, and raised in Stockton, particularly the East Side. She shares how being an immigrant influenced her determination to pursue higher education, and how Nancy became an active member in her high school and then was able to pursue higher education. She is the daughter to immigrant family, and really how many of us can relate to learning leadership skills from having siblings, right? I know I can definitely relate. Education has been a tool and a factor of knowledge for Dr. Huante and a major influence on her leadership styles. She is a first in her family to attend college and even attend a PhD. She has a BA in ethnic studies from Sacramento, CSU Sacramento, and a master's in Chicanx studies from San Diego State, and a PhD in education, culture, and society from the University of Utah. Although her parents did not go to college, they constantly understood and believed in the transformative power of education. These degrees and level of experience are a result of the education she received at home and the support provided by a community of educators. As a Chicana scholar, activist, and community organizer, her love and passion for education is felt and passed on to her family and the larger community in hopes they continue to build and create opportunities to engage social justice work for future generations. Professionally, as an ethnic studies instructor at University of Pacific and co-director of Nopal, which is a nonprofit of community cultural activism and education, she amplifies and builds on social movements that really center around social justice, civic engagement, community-based research, and youth-led projects. One particular quote I was able to find that's very awesome from an interview with Education Trust is around kind of how Dr. Nancy Huante sees herself and her work in the community. And she says, quote, "Sharing my story has allowed me to make connections to families and community members using ethnic studies as a framework has been key in making sense and co-creating an action plan for choosing or closing the achievement and opportunity gap. Using critical qualitative research also informs the way I approach data conversations with families in Stockton." One particular way in which Dr. Nancy Huante's leadership has been seen in the Stockton community has to be the way that Dr. Huante supported the Equal Pay campaign for Camille Zapata. Earlier this year, Camille Zapata, who is an amazing Latina woman who's also done a lot of leadership in our community in Stockton, she became the chief of staff for Supervisor Kathy Miller, but it wasn't until male supervisors voted to delay her appointment and voted to go against her pay. It wasn't until community members stepped up, one of them being Dr. Huante, who supported this campaign, said it was not fair or equal to do equal work and not get equal pay according to gender. So that was very unfortunate move from the supervisors, but I know that particular moment of leadership really showed a lot of support, especially for Camille, who has had a awesome relationship with Dr. Nancy Huante. Some other accomplishments for Latina researchers everywhere can be seen in the publications and scholarly activities completed by Dr. Huante. The most influential ones I was able to find include Testimonial Theology and Chicana Feminists, Understanding the Power of Relationships and Critical Qualitative Research, as well as Isolation, Tokenization, and Resistance, Latina Scholars at a Regional Comprehensive University. Very helpful. And besides having dozens of academic presentations under her belt, a volunteer in a handful of organizations, not only in San Joaquin County, but Sacramento County as well. Dr. Nancy Huante is a proud mother of two lovely girls, a wife, a dog mom, a loving friend, fearless sister, and overall an amazing community leader that we're very lucky to have in Stockton. And I'm going to leave you by reading this comment from Rate My Professor for Dr. Huante, which I think can be said a lot about a lot of her students. As we can see, it was a similar comment left throughout her reviews. Include one student said, great class, different teaching style and approach. Challenges our thinking norms. Assignments are assigned to help students be more critical thinkers and how to make connections with our own lived experiences, which is very, very awesome for a professor to say, hey, we really welcome lived experiences and want you to learn from them. So I hope you're able to learn a little bit more about women leaders in Stockton and particularly really celebrate Dr. Nancy Huante. But thank you and have a good night.